Hi, I'm Steve, the Introverted Traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we hike the grassy fields and rolling landscape of Columbia Hills State Park near Lisle, Washington. Along the way, we will see beautiful views, learn about interesting geology, and get blasted by relentless spring winds. This and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings, and once again, I'm back on yet another adventure. And today is totally not what I had planned. But unfortunately, the weather here in the Pacific Northwest has been, and I don't know if this is an actual word or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it anyways because it's pretty descriptive. It's been utterly shit-tastic. It's been raining, it's been cold, and it's been super windy. And it's the first week of May. It feels like, I mean, look at me, I'm dressed like I'm in freaking tundra. So, bad weather translates to dangerous trails, snowy mountain peaks, and me falling to my death. So all that hiking that I usually do on the difficult, scary trails, unfortunately, had to be replanned. So I figured I'd play it safe, and I am out today in Columbia Hills State Park on the Washington State side of the Columbia River. I'm on the Columbia Hills Vista Loop Trail. I think I got that right, but again, I'll put it down here somewhere if I didn't. So, I didn't originally plan to do this hike. I planned to do a much harder hike, which is deeper in the state park. However, it was down about a 7-mile rutted, potholed, barely there dirt road. And by the time I almost got near the trailhead, banjos were playing in my back of my brain. Now, that is an internal alarm to tell me that I am in a place where there could be real banjos playing in the distance, and I needed to get the hell out. So instead, I came down here towards the main road to do this trail. Oh, this is going to be about a 7-mile. All Trails says 6.5, but All Trails is shit-tastic in its own way. So we're going to assume about 7.5 miles. The big news though, 9 cars at the trailhead. So quick introverted math says 9 cars times 4 people potentially per car. That's an average. Some hold more, some hold less. 36 people. I encountered four people on my way up to, well, to the ranting spot. Let's just call it that. 2 adults and two children, which are almost as bad as adults because they're still terrible and awful, but they're children, so I can't go that ranty on them, but they're awful. They're all awful. They're humans, they're terrible, they shouldn't exist, blah, blah, blah. You've heard my antisocial, asteroid hit the planet rants before. But I passed them, so that takes 4 people out of the equation because they're going back to their cars. So let's assume 8 cars, not including mine, of course. So there's still a potential of at least 32 people out here. So, same formula as usual, of course. I will encounter people, I will complain about it, and then I'll be absolutely hilarious because you can't look like this and not have some form of sense of humor. Let's just get this done and hope that A, the weather holds, and B, the people somehow went extinct, while I was making this long-ass introduction. So, if I make the introductions long enough, I'm hoping the rest of the species just dies off and, I'm alone on the planet. But, I don't have that type of luck. But anyways, let's get going and let's get this done. So the All Trails map is telling me to do what the sign is basically doing and telling me to go right on the Vista Loop Trail I'm looking at the elevation map that All Trails gives you, this little thing that shows you, you know, how high you're gonna go on the trail and what part of the trail is what elevation and grade and all that stuff. And if I go counterclockwise on this loop, it might be just a little bit difficult. Now, my athletic heart, which is buried underneath, you know, man boobs and rolls of fat, wants something more difficult than a moderate hike. Unfortunately, due to, you know, act of nature, the best I'm going to be able to do is, you know, moderate, hopefully a little vigorous. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go the way that I would usually come back, and I'm going to go counterclockwise. So I have a feeling that all the views, because that's the way you're going to be looking out over the Columbia River, all the views are going to be kind of packed into the end of the video, which, you know, you get through the boring parts, which are me talking, me ranting, me, you know, just me. And in the end of the video, if you stay and you watch, you'll see some cool views. But until then, we're going to get some exercise in. We're going to go counterclockwise. And I'm going to defy what All Trails is telling me, because All Trails is shit-tastic. And I'm going to go that way. All right, so I'm going to start this video out by showing you some beauty. Beautiful wildflowers everywhere. The wind is blowing. The grass is green. And somewhere in the distance, a cow is mooing. Now I have to tell you the ugly part. I saw three. I swear one of these days my hand's just gonna break. I saw 3 people, 3 hikers. And of course, they were doing the thing that society has unfortunately conditioned them to do wrongly, because, I mean, look where we are. This is not the mall. This is not a theme park. This is not a place for you to come out with your little friends and laugh and socialize. And it's like, because there's, you know, socially maladjusted weirdos like me out here trying to find solitude and silence for our mental health. But yeah, there were mundane conversations. There were cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. And I'm trying to, you know, stand here and enjoy the beauty, enjoy the spring colors, enjoy the frigid wind that is blowing on me, and the, you know, 45-degree temperatures in the first week of May. That's what I'm out here for. I'm not out here for your socializing. Take your socializing and go shove it up your ass in a mall somewhere. All right, check this out. So, there is a sea of wildflowers out here at the moment. This is for me, it's the first week of May. Again, though, when you see this video, Merry Christmas, Happy Halloween, Happy Easter, whatever, because you know I'm not going to post this anytime after I film it for, like, you know, months and months and months and months. But look at the sea of wildflowers. I mean, isn't this gorgeous? Now, what I will tell you is that for me, personally, somebody who does macro photography, and, you know, I do a lot of filming. Every Sunday I'm out filming. I've seen a lot of wildflowers. So to me, this is beautiful, but it's not like an e-ticket, so to speak. I'm not like, hey, let's go to the mountain and see the wildflowers. I'm like, hey, let's go to the mountain, and there may be wildflowers there. However, here in the Pacific Northwest, I swear, the people are so deprived of sunlight and beauty for so long during the year that the minute anything starts to bloom, they go nuts. Now, there's not a lot of people out today because, you know, I always come out, you know, during the apocalypse, and, you know, when the clouds are gathering and the fog is coming and the rain and the hail and the sleet and the snow, and, you know, when it starts raining toads and all that, that's when I'm out. So there's not a lot of people oohing and ahhing today. However, I will tell you, there are literal trails. I did Dog Mountain a few weeks ago. Right now, Dog Mountain is under permit conditions. You have to have a permit to hike it because people are nuts about the wildflowers. They're just going insane. They're like, ooh, look at the wildflowers. Let's go hike along the wildflowers. The people of the Pacific Northwest are so deprived of sunlight and you know, like, beauty for so long out of the year that this is like flower porn to them. They eat this stuff up, and it's only for you know, a couple of months. So this is literally the flowers here in the Pacific Northwest that we are seeing right now. These are the only things that keep people who live up here sane for the rest of the year. I mean, literally, without these flowers, without people coming out here and touching and gawking at the flowers, this would be anarchy. There'd be, blood in the streets, people would be killing each other, there'd be like just chaos everywhere. Because, I mean, yeah, there's beautiful landscape and waterfalls and stuff, but have you been to the Pacific Northwest? It's dreary and it's cold, and from like September to June, it's like an icy, rainy, awful wonderland up here. So what we're looking at here, folks, I mean, for me, I'm from California, so it doesn't affect me whatsoever because I've seen tons of wildflowers, but we are literally looking at the only thing that is preventing Oregon and Washington from plunging into Armageddon. Flowers. It's the only thing that's saving in this population up here. It's the only thing that keeps the peace. So let's look at the flowers and let's admire their beauty, because the rest of the year they're certainly not going to be around. Well, we're up high enough now that we have some views. Nothing spectacular yet. Now, I did see some cool stuff when I was coming in before I started filming. So, I know there's stuff coming. However, because I wanted more of a physical challenge, which by the way has backfired on me, because this is a very, very moderate trail. This is not a difficult trail. For those of you who like difficult trails, this is probably not for you. But for those of you who like more moderate hikes and an easier pace, and don't mind the 10 or so people that I've seen. Actually, I've seen under 10. That's why I'm not ranting like a lunatic and running back to my car and sobbing for half an hour. But even one person is too many people. Yeah, if you can endure that and you don't mind, moderate hike, it is very pretty out here. I mean, look at this landscape. You got rolling hills, you got some trees there in the distance, you got green grass, which probably won't be green for long because it is, May, but you got all this stuff. It is beautiful. It is somewhat peaceful. I have had solitude for the majority so far of the hike. I'm not that far into it. I'm about 2 miles, but overall, not terrible. All right, so here's where we are. We're right next to a beautiful little, brook down there, a little creek. It's right in that general area. You probably can't see it. It runs, you see this big line of trees here. And the state park has helpfully put a informational sign about this. A trickle of life. A thin trail of trees runs from here up past the Crawford Ranch and downhill towards the Columbia River. There's the line of trees, right there. This is no accident. Fed by a freshwater spring high in the hills, 8 Mile Creek breathes life into the dry, windswept hillsides along its path. Oregon white oak lines the creek's edges. Apparently, that's the Oregon white oak. Deer, coyote, and other animals come to the creek from miles around for drinking water. Now, the next part of the sign is my favorite part. When Euro-American settlers arrived in this area. So, let me translate that. What they mean by Euro-American settlers are our bloody ancestors who came over here and stole the land, committed genocide, slaughtered thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of native people, and then poisoned the environment, cut down trees, and so forth. That's the actual history. But when Euro-American settlers, that doesn't upset the tourists that come here to read the sign. I mean, most of the hikers who leave their dog bags all over the place, they're very happy to read Euro-American settlers. They don't want to hear, those bloody colonizers, because I don't know, the Americans get upset at that type of stuff. But yeah, the bloody colonizers arrived in the area. They built their homes near 8 Mile Creek, using the water for their gardens, orchards, and livestock. So that's where we are, 8 Mile Creek, beautiful flowers, big line of tree, informational sign, and our ancestors still committed genocide. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, let's stop using terms like Euro-American settlers and just say the freaking genocidal colonizers that killed innocent people and stole the land. Okay, so aside from the gust of wind, I decided to start up right as I hit the power button of my video. In the distance is a good example of my planning and you know, my coordination with the weather and the elements. I see a lot of videos out in this general area, and it's always bright and sunny, which obviously, I swear, nature hates me right now. What the hell? So, anyways, it's usually bright and sunny, which of course, you know, we can't check that box. But in the distance is Mount Hood. Now, it is a big, tall, and currently snow-covered volcano. It's majestic, it's wonderful. You can see it from Portland, you can see it, you know, all around. It's right there. Now, can you see a volcano in the distance? Well, you can see the bits and pieces of it, maybe, but clouds, bad weather. By wonderful planning, I bring you to a wonderfully scenic area with a gorgeous, majestic volcano, and that's what you get. You get that right there. You get, like, you can see the base of the volcano, and I swear I'm going to be blown out now. I'm apparently in hurricane condition winds. I feel like one of those CNN reporters that goes out in the middle of the hurricane, you know, like the worst part of the storm, and then he's trying to report, and ends up getting blown away, and his microphone ends up in the ocean. And I'm just trying to show you that there's a volcano over there somewhere behind the clouds, and nature's telling me to F off. So, I've been talking about, you know, introverted math for a few videos now. And in my Archer Mountain video, I introduced the idea that if you have one human being that has two dogs with them, the awesomeness of those two dogs cancels out the soul-sucking horror that is, you know, one human being. Now, the problem, however, just got more complex, because I was passed by two human beings that had two dogs. Now, we have to go back through our introverted math and try to solve this problem. Now, if two dogs cancel out one awful soul-draining human being encounter, then what did two dogs and two people do? Well, obviously, if you keep it really simple, you'll know that two dogs is going to cancel out one of the people, but there was one other person and no other dogs. So, really what I'm saying is I saw two dogs and one person. I mean, that's your answer. So that's your answer to today's introverted math problem. When you have more than one person but only two dogs, how many people does that cancel out? And the answer is one person per two dogs. Always. And now, if they had four dogs, then I would have just seen a pack of dogs. I wouldn't have seen anybody. There would be nobody there because those four dogs would have canceled out those two people. Now I really just want to see roving packs of dogs. I mean, I always see roving packs of humans, and it's absolutely terrible, but roving packs of dogs would be cool. I mean, they're friendly and kind, and, you know, not chihuahuas. I'm a windbreaker. Not a very good one, but I'm a windbreaker. And not in the way you're thinking. So here's an update. The wind is blowing so hard up here that I can barely walk straight. Now, mind you, I barely walk straight to begin with. I'm always tripping over myself, but I mean, look at this. Look at the grass blowing in the wind. The shrubs. It is gusting up here. And yeah, it's catching the side of my backpack and like knocking me to the side. That's how bad it is. And then I'm huge. I'm like, you know, giant in comparison to most people. And it's still knocking me around. So imagine if I was in serious weather. I mean, this is not serious weather. This is just, you know, Sunday in the Pacific Northwest. This is like every day, basically. Nature is a powerful thing up here. And I've talked about this before, but the nature up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's vicious. I mean, it's so vicious it won't even let me walk on a flat trail. I mean, look at this. Look at that. You can see the grass moving. I'm saying look at that like you can visualize wind, but you kind of can. I mean, plants are moving around and you hear it. And so yeah, so look at that. It's gusting at me so hard. This is harder than it ever gusted in California. It's because the Pacific Northwest doesn't like anybody. It just wants to kill everything and everyone. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna hope that I'm not taken away to the land of Oz on a strong gust. And talk to you again when the weather's not messing with my head. That is as close to the edge that I'm going to get today, and not even because of my fear of heights, because literally the wind is blowing so hard. I'm afraid it's going to like toss me off the edge and I'm going to go flying, and I'm going to have to pretend I'm Mary Poppins and use my GoPro like she used her umbrella in the movie and hope against hope that I can float down to the bottom. But of course the reality is, you know, my brains would be splattered on some rocks down there, my body would be crumpled. And I really don't want to have splattered brains and crumpled bodies, so I'm just gonna stay as safe as I can. However, look at the view. So we already saw this side. We've got rock formations here. We got rock formations on the other side. We got waves breaking on the river down there. And up here, we literally have the apocalypse. I am just waiting for the 4 horsemen to roll in and for just the trumpets to blare. But until then, here's a sign. The evolution of a river. The shape and flow of the Columbia River has changed and evolved over time. At the end of the last ice age, massive floods swept through the Columbia River Gorge, bringing water levels as high as where you stand. That's pretty damn high. The floods scoured the walls of the valley, exposing dramatic basalt formations. Now, what they're talking about, you look right over there. You see how that rock is being really, really dramatic? It's almost like a drama king or queen over there. It's like overly dramatic. That's the dramatic basalts, right? Right in there. They're very dramatic. Sometimes they just get carried away a little bit, but yeah, those are the basalts they're talking about. More recently, the construction of the Dalles Dam in 1957 turned roaring rapids into a calm reservoir. This isn't exactly calm, but okay. Lake Celio and Horse Thief Lake were created as backup river water, and as backed up river water inundated the stretch of the gorge. How do you think the Columbia might change in the future? Well, I don't know. Maybe it will go to trade school, and maybe it will do something other than try to blow me off a cliff. But until then, this is where we are. This is the beauty of where we are. Oregon over there, Washington over here, and giant windy introvert over here. I am less than a mile from the trailhead, and thus less than a mile from my car. Normally we do the trail raiding a little before I'm to this point, but unfortunately it was so windy up there, you probably wouldn't have been able to hear me much. So instead, I'm doing the trail raiding down here. Now remember, the scale we use is 1 to 10, with one being the worst possible scenario for an introvert, and that is Disneyland on the 4th of July, where you've got parents chasing after children, children chasing after costume characters chasing after guests while holding axes and knives, bloody body parts everywhere, bloody chainsaws everywhere, explosions in the sky, screaming, chaos, you know, a typical day at Disneyland. That it compares to a 10, which is introvert nirvana. The greatest possible scenario for an introvert: a lone ice field in the middle of Antarctica in the summer with just you and the penguins, no humans for hundreds and hundreds of miles. I gotta book that vacation. I really do. But on that scale of 1 to 10, this trail probably is about a 6. Unfortunately, I have seen multiple people. I actually just saw a couple of people going down the trail towards the trailhead. So that automatically deducts points. The presence of humans in any way and humanity in any way automatically means the trail is not as great as it could be, because humans ruin absolutely everything. So this one's about a 6. Unfortunately, I saw people. I don't like people, but there weren't that many people. Now, this is a very windy day, as you saw, and it's a cold day. It's raining in Portland. It's raining all over the place. We're kind of out in the desert, so we're not getting the rain, but it's not necessarily a good representation of what this trail is like. This trail is probably a lot busier on nice days, but it's the Pacific Northwest. When the hell do you have nice days? So my rating is going to be a 6, and that leads us to the misery index. A scale of 1 to 5. 1 being absolutely no misery whatsoever, which is a complete dream. There's never a chance for me not to be miserable to 1 degree or another. And then a 5, of course, is the most misery ever. And I often, in these videos, break a 5. However, in this particular case, there haven't been that many people. So I'm going to put myself at about a 2.5. Because it's mostly just been me and the wind. There have been people here and there, but overall, the trail we're going to rate about 6, maybe even a 7. I might give it a 6 or 7 because, again, it's been pretty secluded, and I've had some solitude, and it's just been peppered with awfulness here and there. So overall, that's our trail rating. That's our misery index. I'm headed down to my car, and I'm going to get the hell out of this wind. It's better now that I'm down here, but I think I'm done for today. We have reached the part of the hike where I can literally, I don't know if I can see my car, but I can definitely see the trailhead. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits here and say that it is time for us to say goodbye. Before that though, quick recap. So today we are in Columbia Hills State Park in the on the Washington side of the Columbia River, of course. We were going to do a more difficult hike that was way up in the boonies, but I heard the banjo alarms in my head and decided it wasn't going to happen. So I'm down here doing a moderate hike, and we got to see some cool views. I mean, we got to see some wildflowers. Unfortunately, there were a few people out, but not a horrible amount of people. We got to see a spring creek. We got to see a bunch of informational signs. These are always exciting. And we almost got blown literally off the entire planet by the wind. I literally almost made it to orbit because the wind was that strong. So, I'm ready to be done. That means you know what's coming. Stay introverted, everyone. And I'll see you in the next adventure.